Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Star Wars figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at another member of Clone Force 99, aka the Bad Batch. It's Crosshair. And in record time, I might add, this guy was only announced 7 months ago, and we'll touch on why he's been released so soon in just a second. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. I have popped the link to their site in the description below. They have Pay in 4 and a loyalty program. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it's your typical Star Wars fare. We have an image of Crosshair front and center, yes, it's the actual figure, a metallic foil Star Wars logo, and a wraparound banner done in red to denote that this guy is indeed from the Bad Batch line. We have another image of Crosshair on said banner, this time without his bucket on. Now if you're wondering, why Justin? Why did he release so soon after the pre-order announcement? Well, he is from the Bad Batch. He's also from a small batch. I can't believe I went there. They didn't make a ton of these guys, and that's just how it works with team-based figures. Hot Toys don't have a great track record with teams, so people are very hesitant to jump on a line before Hot Toys have announced all the characters in said line. Now they have with Bad Batch, who knows, maybe he will be more popular and more people will be looking for Crosshair. Usually how it works is the hype is at its peak when they announce the first few characters in a team, then it dips down towards the middle, and as the team is completed, hype starts to pick back up again. Oh, hype. It is a fickle thing. With this show having finished its second season and the outfits looking different to this appearance, and Crosshair himself looking different in his Imperial outfit, that's also another tough sell for people to want to pick up this version of Crosshair. On the side of the box, another image of him, this time holding his badass sniper rifle. Around the back, his name, Hot Toys' various store locations, warnings, legal info, as well as some barcodes. Now, Hot Toys usually do include some extra artwork on the inside of the packaging. This is a much better piece of artwork than that boring image of Crosshair on the front of the box. This should have been the packaging design all day long. On the outside, not just on the inside. In the background, Crosshair's helmet, this time the CGI model. Front and center, the figure himself, blasting his DC-17 whilst holding his sniper rifle. And down below, flames, embers, smoke, just setting the scene for the battle, with an ominous red tone. We also have a Star Wars logo and his name once more. We're getting pretty close to completing this team. We still have Wrecker yet to come, and Tech, they have announced them, so they're happening. I have a question for y'all though. If Hot Toys don't announce Omega, is that going to be a disappointment? Would you count the line as not complete? Do you want her in your display? For me, if they do announce her, then awesome. I'll grab her, no problem. She is part of the team after all. If not, then for my purposes in my display, I'd still count the team as complete, at least based off how they appeared in Clone Wars Season 7. First in-hand impressions for Crosshair? So far so good. What we are going to do now though is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, it's a rectangle, a little bit chonky to give him an added height boost. You do have his helmet on one side, red on a black background, always a striking color combo, the Bad Batch on the other. And I particularly like these pops of yellow front and back. It once again contrasts against the black background. Around the front, Star Wars and Crosshair on an etched nameplate. If you do want to remove that top plate, you absolutely can. No need to keep it there. And underneath it, you do have some sculpt work. It's just the classic Hot Toys Imperial style flooring. Or maybe it's a Venator, or a command post, or Camino, entirely up to you. Then up top, an adjustable crotch grabber, which is slightly wider than usual, just to accommodate his armor. I don't want to spend too much time discussing the backpack now. When we pop it on him later, then we'll discuss it in a lot more detail. The sculpt work is sharp all the way around, it's nice and blocky and angular. There's a slot for his sniper rifle to slot into. It is completely hollow, yet I can't figure out if you can open this. If you know, please let me know in the comments down below. Being hollow, that's a good call, considering it's super lightweight, so when it's on his back, it shouldn't pull him backwards and get in your way when it comes to posing. He also has some foam padding on the underside of the backpack, so when it slots onto his back, this piece won't rub up against the armor and cause any paint rub. You do get two different options for the head sculpt, a head sculpt and a helmet. The helmet is large enough that it looks like it could foreseeably go over the head sculpt. It doesn't, it's got its own neck connector. Now, the head sculpt does come with a toothpick. Actually, you get 2 toothpicks in case you break one or you lose one. Always good to have spares. He does come with one DC-17 blaster pistol. Sculpt is once again sharp, just like the backpack. And the paint applications, it is cast in gunmetal and there's silver dry brushing on the surface, making it look suitably aged, worn, metallic, and realistic. These thermal detonators, as small as they are packed full of detail. We've got sculpted rings around the front with washers in those teeny crevices, same thing for the line work and the grip up top on the little handle that you'd slide back with your thumb to activate the thermal detonator itself. A pop of red around the front, and the same thing goes for the half one. What would you use the half one for? Well, you can pop it on the display base as some set dressing, or you can pop it on a clanker, so it looks like, Crosshair has thrown this on a droid and it's stuck, in position, activated, and it's about to blow. His sniper rifle is by far the most important accessory here. They nailed it. The sculpt work is fantastic, the paint applications are beautiful, you've got gunmetal sections, silver sections, they are metallic, and there are certain sections that look like they've been directly ripped from the show. This main body in this grey colour, it's spot on to the animation. It's also modular. If you want, you can take out this front section, so the barrel is removed, and now you can start to attach some parts and pieces, like, say, for instance, this one, which is keyed, so it only goes one way. Now you have this, if you want to, or you can remove this bottom section. Then you can bring in this much larger piece, slot this on, and now you've made it even bigger. There's some kind of grenade launcher thing down below. Now that's not the only combination. You can remove this front piece once again, take this piece back out, bring this little guy back in, remove this top section, and I'm pretty sure you can see where this is going. Then you want to bring in this much longer barrel. This, I'd say, is the signature look for the rifle. It's his sniper rifle configuration. You've got the scope up top with some glossy paint front and back, so it looks like glass on a scope. There's even some weathering around the front, so it looks like this blaster is not brand new. It's been used a lot. This would have been superheated and charred. Will I be displaying it like this? Yeah, probably. Damn, I really wish we could open up that backpack now that I'm seeing these little teeny pieces and the thermal detonators. Imagine if you could just take the parts off, you've done the modular thing on the gun, then you could just pop them in the backpack. You don't have to go back to the box. You don't have to go back to your accessories tub. You will have to, because you can't open up the backpack. The hands look good. The inside black glove is nice and matte. There's some wrinkling on the surface. Then for the hand armor, there's dirt and grime, there's chipping. They look worn and weathered just like everything else here. You do get 2 trigger finger hands, one for either side, 1 pointing finger hand, and also a 2-finger pointing hand, plus an open palm hand. Suspiciously though, no hands specifically sculpted to hold the thermal detonators. Whereas with previous clones, we definitely got them, so I'm not sure what's going on with Hot Toys and their clone hands. Plus, no closed fists once again. What we are going to do now, though, is get Crosshair himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Okay, well, maybe some accessories. He has his backpack on with the blaster rifle in the backpack and his pistol in the holster. I count those things as part of his outfit, so I had to pop them on just to complete the look. Overall, this is what I was expecting from a Hot Toys Crosshair. The proportions are realistic style versus the animation style from the show. Basically what Hot Toys do is they take their stock body, which is great, decent proportions and awesome articulation with ratchet joints where they need them. They pop the ribbed fabric bodysuit over the top of that. Then they grab the CGI model for Crosshair, run it through their conversion algorithm, the Hot Toys proprietary CGI clone to realistic clone filter, and this is what we end up with, this unholy mashup of parts and pieces, this realistic style Crosshair. It works for me when maybe you wouldn't think it would, because that animation style is so different and so distinctive. They have done away with all of the wonky proportions. They've made this guy look realistic, and it still works, because this design, it's stellar. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Crosshair's helmet. And what a helmet this thing is. It's super unique and very specific to Crosshair. There's some glossy black detail on the sides in these vents for some reason. The visor has a crosshair on one side. Get it? Because it's his name. And it is a glossy plastic separate piece that's been inserted into the sculpt of the helmet, so there is a natural crevice around the edges that does cast shadow. There's depth there. You've got the little nose motif and the skull teeth down below. That's, I think, the look he was going for. And the massive mandibles that work their way around the front do have some detail in them. You've got the little ports and a grill as well. There is a blast shield of sorts up top, and on one side, a rangefinder. This little pop of yellow down the bottom and the translucent section I particularly like. Being able to see that crosshair dot through the rangefinder is a very nice touch. Got the red stripe working its way around the back and multiple different colors at play with weathering on the surface. Got black speckling, got that grey chalky look that lends to the aesthetic of the show, and some washes in the crevices, just to bring out all of that sculpted detail. If you're wondering what he looks like with the unhelmeted head sculpt on, okay, let's get it out the way first. Yes, I can see the John Bernthal likeness from certain angles, like right there, the shape of the ears, the jawline, the furrowed brow. It sells the Punisher-esque likeness. I get it. I can see it, definitely. Can I see Tamura Morrison in this sculpt? Hell no. I don't think it looks anything like Tem. Maybe that was by design. In the show, Crosshair did have a very distinctive look, and I think they've captured that in a realistic style head sculpt. The skin texture, great, sculpted and painted with that speckling on the surface to mimic natural complexion. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow. The Crosshair scar, it is inset into the sculpt. It's not just paint on the surface. You also have this natural fade between the hairline and the sculpt. It almost looks like there's some scalp poking through the hair. Around the back, he does even have a sculpted crown. That's some great detail. He also has a skin tone neck, which is a nightmare to expose. You have to sit there and roll down this collar, which is not easy to do. It's very tight around the neck. You'll see what I mean when you get yours in hand. Now, if you're wondering if you can remove the toothpick, of course you can. When you do, there is a nasty hole left on the side of his mouth. I think Hot Toys could have done that a little bit better. Caustic Plastic did it better. They had just a crevice in the mouth that wasn't super noticeable like that peg port is. But then the little cigarette did fall out of the Caustic Plastic John Wayne's mouth pretty often. So going with a peg port, it is much more secure. It's just a trade-off. It doesn't look as good when you take out the toothpick. Overall, do I like this head sculpt? Shit, yeah, I do. Around the back, this boy is rocking some serious back package. It's absolutely huge. It does have a crevice cut out of it where you can see the strap that leads down to his belt and the harness around the front. Does stick out a little, so when you pop this on, it does sit on there thanks to that crevice cut out from the foam. You can remove his sniper rifle, which is held in place magnetically. So too is the backpack. No clips, no buckles, no straps, just a magnet, you pop it on and job done. The backpack looks great. There's scuffing and weathering for where this thing would be dragged around during battle, or maybe as he's rolling around commando style, this is being bumped and knocked. Yes, it should be dirty. Some red buttons, some blue ones. And you also have some red panel lining and pinstriping around the edges. Not to mention that on the inside of the crevice where the sniper rifle is stored, it is padded with foam, so you won't do any damage to the rifle when it's stowed in there. Could you display him without the backpack on? Sure. There's even some paint applications underneath the backpack itself. Back around the front, I'm pretty sure this is a Clone Commando style chest plate. Correct me if I'm wrong down below, that's just the vibe I'm getting from it. There's battle damage, there's scratching, there's chipping, there's dirt and grime on the edges. And the same thing goes for the rest of the armor. This guy's suit is completely disheveled. His shoulder pads are an asymmetrical design. One side, more rounded with the skull and Clone Force 99. This side, just the 99. Up top, there is a massive blade, which I'm pretty sure is what he leans the rifle against when he's aiming crossbody. Then around the front, you do have this harness with some shells down below, presumably for his rifle. This pad is made of pleather, 2 different pieces of pleather, red and black, and it does stick out rather obnoxiously, unfortunately. I do wish it was adhered a little bit more to the suit so it would sit more flush than it does. Like you can see, it sticks out and it's very, very visible. The color palette with the bluish grey, the dark gunmetal, and the red, super striking. Now, most of these armor plates are adjustable, and you will find, especially the shoulder pads, they will need to be adjusted a lot. This one likes to sag down. It's just attached with a piece of elastic, and it's very, very loosey-goosey. Great for posing, annoying for posing at the same time. You will have to adjust it like I said. Underneath the armor plates, you do have the ribbed fabric bodysuit. No worries about stretching, creasing, or damage. It is proper fabric. Speaking of creasing and damage, his belt, and the harness, and that little piece up the top, they're all pleather. I wish they weren't. I like the color and I like the grain and the stitching. It all looks awesome. For now, over the years, who knows how long this pleather belt harness thing is going to last. Fingers crossed forever. I think they could have sculpted it and it would have looked just as good, and it wouldn't have had the risk of being damaged. You know, if it's sculpted plastic, it's not an issue. These discs, if you're wondering, they are not removable. They're fixed in position. Those are the discs that Crosshair throws, then he can bounce his blaster bolt off the discs and hit the various targets that he's trying to hit. He does have a holster for his DC-17 blaster pistol. It's pretty loose in there. I wish that was a tighter clip-in mechanism so you'd pop it in and it wouldn't float around as it does. And he also has a pouch, which is not openable and it's fully sculpted. The color match between the pouch and the belt is a bit off. Not a deal breaker by any means. It still looks the part. For his crotch plate, there's a big piece of protection there. You know, you want to protect the goods. He also has more of that ribbed bodysuit poking through from under the armor. I'm so sorry. The thigh panels do have chipping, dirt and grime, scratching, weathering, more red detailing down here on the shins, and for his clone booties, they look like your typical clone boots, this time done in grey. And on the underside, some fully sculpted tread. For a quick side-by-side comparison, I thought, you know what? Let's just cut right to the chase. Nobody wants to see Hunter compared to Crosshair, then Crosshair compared to Echo, then Echo compared to Hunter, and whatever the hell else combos there are. Let's just put all 3 together in front of us here and now. Hunter is a little bit shorter than Crosshair, who happens to be the tallest of the 3 in front of us. And Echo, unfortunately, his red color is starting to bother me more and more with each consecutive Bad Batch member being released with the darker color palette that matches Hunter. Echo's much brighter red, it just stands out as wrong. I understand, canonically, Echo, he was the newest member of the team. His red just would be more saturated by virtue of it not having faded yet. It does stand out for all the wrong reasons. I just wish throwing that canon stuff out the window if only they had painted it in the same color as the rest of the team. They didn't, and it is brighter. Now we still have to wait for Rekka and Tech, maybe eventually Omega, although now that I think about it, I don't reckon that's very likely. Hot Toys, they just don't make figures based off kids. Going over articulation, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not expecting any surprises here. He is on your typical clone-style body, and he shouldn't be any more or less posable than standard clones. Starting off with the bucket, it's on a double ball peg with a ball joint at the bottom of the articulated neck. Combined looking forward to there, looking back to there, not a ton, swivel and pivot side to side. The shoulder pad is articulated. If you want the arm to go up as much as possible, move it down and then you can move the arm all the way up. It will go forward and back on soft ratchets, and there's a butterfly joint at the shoulder that does hinge up and down. Swivel at the bicep underneath the armor, double bend at the elbow on ratchets going just past 90, Then for the wrist peg, a hinge and swivel. With multiple pieces of armor overlapping each other, you'd think there wouldn't be a ton of range. Surprisingly, he does crunch forward and back more than I was expecting, swivels and pivots side to side. A handy tip for the thigh armor, rotate it slightly off center, and that way it won't butt into the armor around the crotch area, which means it will be able to go slightly higher. On ratchets, it also goes out to there, this time not on ratchets, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee, going just past 90, back to ratchets, and lastly, for the ankles, double ball pegs. Good for forward and back, swivel, plus ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is this pleather strap for the holster. It looks sus as hell. It feels flimsy, and it looks like if you just breathe on it, it's going to deteriorate very, very quickly. I hope that's not the case. Still, I am worried about it. The second annoying thing is the magnet for the backpack is nowhere near strong enough. This is on there so loosely there's a bunch of play to it, and if you bump it when posing, chances are it's going to fall off. Maybe multiple times if you're unlucky. The third annoying thing is there is an inaccuracy on the front of his armor, and being on the front, that's just not ideal. It's this panel. In the show, this is supposed to conform to the shape of his armor. It's supposed to sit down kind of like that. Whereas in 1/6 scale, it doesn't do that. It's made of pleather and it has a mind of its own. It sticks up and looks all kinds of goofy. You could potentially pop a dab of glue underneath and push it down. I just would rather not have to. The first cool thing is the sniper rifle. I bet you saw this coming. Being able to switch out all of the parts and pieces on the fly and change up the look of the rifle is just so fun. I don't know which way I'm leaning as of yet for the rifle, whether I'm going this way with the scope on and the big frickin' barrel and the silencer, at least I think that's what that is on the end, or if I'm going to have some other kind of combination. Maybe with the smaller but chonkier barrel, ditch the scope entirely and go back to this little panel thing, then on the underside, remove this piece at the bottom and plug on this optional version. There are just multiple different ways you can go, and you can mix and match. If you don't like the set combinations, if you'd prefer this long piece with the sniper rifle barrel, then yeah, okay, go ahead and get that done. Make it your own. The second cool thing is the unhelmeted head sculpt. It might just be my new favorite Bad Batch head sculpt. They've even given us a skin tone neck under the suit collar. It is a bit of a hassle to expose said skin tone neck. So worth doing. Sit down, roll it down, and it just makes that blend between the sculpt and the neck that much more seamless. Now, the toothpick is a very nice touch, and it is pretty darn small. The hole and the crevice that it slides into is deep enough that I don't have any worries about it falling off when you are posing him or just having him in the display. It's pretty darn secure. The third cool thing is this helmet design, something about it with the extended mandibles and the skull-like look with the little nose and teeth, plus this rangefinder that's translucent so you can see the dot through it. I just love the way this looks. It speaks to me, and this, I reckon, is the most visually striking of the Bad Batch helmets. Wrapping up on Hot Toys, Crosshair. Based off his appearance in Clone Wars Season 7 and a little teeny tiny bit of Bad Batch Season 1. This guy is ace. I barely have any complaints, and the stuff that I did pick up on, they're minor nitpicks. This guy is still pretty darn fantastic. The body proportions are realistic, which might be a little bit more bulky than some were expecting, including me. I thought he'd be skinnier and lankier like he is in the show. And the helmet does come across a little bit too big in certain poses. In others, it works no problem. The paint, beautiful, no question, top to bottom, very nicely weathered, and it matched the show aesthetic. And the icing on the cake? The sniper rifle, being as modular as it is fun. I said that earlier and I stick by it. It just brings me so much joy to sit down and be able to customize that rifle to look any way that I want. If I want a certain combination, I can do that. If you want a different combination, then yeah, frickin' go ahead and go for it. Get that done, no problem. At the end of this is paint by numbers at this point by Hot Toys. They have made clones, they have the stock body, they have the parts from the other Bad Batch members, and this is just another clone. He does look a little bit different, and there are new pieces, no question. Still, they know what they're doing, and what they are doing is delivering some badass clones. This guy is no exception. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. I have popped the link to their site in the description below. They have Pay-in-4 and a loyalty program. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.